Hey there, this is Austin with Nation Media, and today I'm going to show you how to apply one of our premium themes to your existing NationBuilder website. So we'll actually start out in a client's backend here because it's set up a little bit more like yours would. We have some special settings going on in ours, so it wouldn't be as useful. So custom templates, number one. What you're going to do is you're going to go through the type column in your website, and you're going to look for parentheses custom. You want to do this for every page on your website that you care about being on your new website, which means you're going to go through all the subpages of each page as well. So what you'll do is you'll click custom and you'll land on the custom template. Now it's very likely that you created the custom template so that you could implement some custom code inside it, which means you don't just want to delete the custom template and be done with it. You want to go through the template and find the reason that you created it in the first place, if there is one. So here we see that we needed to put in an iframe in this demo template. So we will copy it. We'll then delete the custom template. We will create a new custom template, and then paste the code back in and save and publish it. What this did is it made the custom template essentially compatible with our premium themes in such a way that preserved the old code. Now, if there is no code in the custom template and you're not really sure why it was utilizing a custom template in the first place, you can just delete the custom template and be done with it. So that covers number one. We'll move on here to featured content sliders. So in our themes, the featured content slider images are used as background images, and we're actually logged in here, so this is why it's not showing a sign-up form here and stuff. But on the various pages, like the About page, we see that the header section has background images, and they actually cycle through because there's multiple. Action pages, they have background images as well. So these are actually featured content sliders in our themes. This is very different from most NationBuilder themes, which utilize featured content sliders as sliders. So we'll actually go ahead and show you on the About page here as an example, featured content sliders. We have 3 created here. So the label, the headline, the page to feature, they don't really matter in our themes. So if you do have some specialized content for those, I'll show you what to do in a second. But for our themes, all that really matters is the image here. That's going to be background images. Now, if you really want to retain the normal slider functionality, you can do that. It's just not the default in our themes, and I will show you exactly what that would look like. If we go to our content block section on our mega theme and scroll down to about, I think there, we see a slider. So the slider has the headline, or the label, the headline, and the page to feature. And it slides through all these images. So you can definitely implement this content block if you want to retain the normal featured content functionality, but just be aware that by default, all that's really going to be taken from these featured content sliders in the back end here is the image. You'll also want to note that as they're background images, they're going to resize according to the user's screen size, so they should not have text inside of the image. So that's about it for featured content sliders. Next, we'll move on to subheadlines. So if we go to content, scroll down, excerpt. If we go to settings, SEO, excerpt, or social media, excerpt for Facebook search engines, we see this text. Now, if you change this in one of these places, it's also going to change in the other place. Keep that in mind. But for this video, the important thing to note is that whatever's here is going to appear as a sub-headline on your website. So we take a look at the About page again as a demo. We see the headline, and then we see the sub-headline. So keep in mind that whatever is in that box is going to show up on your website unless that feature is disabled, which it is not by default. So that's it for subheadlines. Number 4, supporter nav. If we click supporter nav here, we see, you can ignore this for now, we see content blocks and the link to content blocks. Now, by default, these supporter nav buttons appear in the sidebar for most NationBuilder themes. For our themes, they appear in the top navigation bar. So we see content blocks right here, and that's where it comes from. So just keep in mind that on your old theme, they may very well have been in the sidebar. On our themes, they will show up in the top nav. Now, if you go to, for example, the About page, we see something else, which is Include in Supporter Nav right here. If we go back to Supporter Nav and go to Reorder Links, which is different from buttons, we see that we have 4 pages in the Supporter Nav. Again, for most NationBuilder themes, any buttons with that any pages with that checkbox checked only show up in the sidebar or the supporter nav, I should say technically, only show up when a user is logged in, which is why it's called the supporter nav, because they're technically a supporter. In our themes, in these reorder links, if that checkbox is checked, they show up in the sidebar no matter what. So overall, the buttons show up in the top nav, and these show up in the sidebar no matter what, as opposed to only when someone is logged in. So just keep that in mind. If you have pages in here that are specifically for supporters on your website. Next, we will go over the site settings background image. Actually, you know what? I'm going to show you an example of the supporter nav real quick. So we see in the sidebar down here, we see these pages. So we happen to be logged in, but even if we weren't logged in, these would show up in the sidebar here. So next, we'll go over the background image. This background image, for most themes, is actually a background image. For our themes, it is a full width image just above the footer. So we scroll down here, we see this picture, and by default, if you have Facebook and Twitter connected to your website, these will show up. You can, of course, disable that picture, but the main point is that the background shows up as a full width image just above the footer if you have a background image. Similarly, but also not so similarly, the header image in our themes don't do what they do in most themes, which is function as a header image. That's what featured content sliders do. So you can see that featured content sliders actually take the place of the header image and the background image. But in our themes, the header image actually doesn't show up at all. So whatever's here is not going to show up on your website. If you are using one of our email themes, it will show up there, but that's another discussion. So, and then lastly, on most NationBuilder themes, if you tag a page homepage in its settings, page settings tags, you tag it homepage, an excerpt of this page will show up on the homepage. In our themes, this tag is layout homepage. So the tag homepage actually won't do that. So you want to make sure you can go through all your pages that are tagged homepage. You can do a quick search there. I don't have any, but if you did have some, you could find them and you could change the homepage tag to layout homepage. So that's it. Everything else on our themes functions the normal NationBuilder way. I just wanted to quickly go over the things that function a little bit differently from default NationBuilder functionality. So I hope this guide was useful, and good luck with using one of our premium themes on your existing website.